It's now Cam Ward time in Tennessee. We're all stoked. One of the things that I was super happy about, and I got on the internet as soon as I saw it, was what I would call the passing of the torch with Warren Moon allowing Cam Ward to wear the number 1 jersey. There's a lot of speculation. I think you had talked about it, that one of the reasons he was doing it was because Cam Ward would never wear the 1 in Oilers blue, in that throwback Oilers jersey. We know we have a rebrand coming. We got the new stadium coming.
Well, we didn't know we had the rebrand coming. We assumed, and then Warren Moon accidentally confirmed. So thank you, Warren, for doing that for us. But yeah, absolutely. So now we know it's confirmed. There's some sort of rebrand, which was likely going to come. We all suspected because it was like, Tennessee was like, okay, we're only wearing the baby blues, right? And we're like, that's kind of weird. And so we had our speculation, and then Warren just came out and confirmed it. So that was kind of
Warren did it for us. But I love that. And then the last thing before we jump into the draft picks, if you guys need any more reason, like you said, to absolutely fall in love with Cam Ward reached out to each and every one of the other draft picks. And that is just a absolute sign of a leader. Hasn't even worked with anybody, but wanted to welcome each of the other new guys, and not on Twitter, which Tyler Lockett, big shout out. Love that. That's another that, it is obvious. It is obvious that Mike and Chad and Brian, they want to change the culture and the way that the Tennessee Titans are viewed. And it is obvious. And as we get into these draft picks, all of them have one of the same big characteristics that Mike mentioned. They all love football. And without even more, right? Let's dive into these draft picks, because I'm super stoked to look at them.
Yeah. A couple of housekeeping notes based on what you just said, actually, that were interesting. One, the Warren Moon thing, having that get confirmed and having him pass off the jersey number to Cam is amazing. I've never been like, I get the conversation. A lot of people were upset because it's like, it's retired, it's his number, don't wear it. Well, now we know that essentially there's a rebrand coming, and it's very likely that the Titans are not going to wear the Oilers uniforms. First, they told us that outright this offseason about, probably 2 months ago. They were saying, we're not wearing the Oilers, we're only wearing the light blues. Everyone's like, that's kind of weird. And then Warren says, well, a big reason why I'm passing the number off is because I feel like my legacy is being protected, because Cam won't wear the number 1 in an Oilers uniform. It'll be like a version of that. So basically all confirmed that we're getting what I think is probably going to happen. And I'll just touch on this briefly because this is a whole other topic for a different day. But essentially what's going to happen is, I think Miss Amy has looked at the Oilers situation as like, okay, this is frustrating to keep coming back to this. Like, oh, Oilers is in Tennessee history, yada, yada. So she's like, okay, fine. We're going to change our uniforms, and we're going to take the intellectual property of the Oilers colorway and, kind of the theme of the jersey, and make it Tennessee Titans. So I think a version of that, like a kind of a combination of what the Titans is now versus, with like older colorway. I think we're going to have some version of that come together in a jersey, in a uniform. And then you won't have to wear the Oilers anymore, because it's just going to come through in what the new Titans uniform is going to be. And that's just going to be squashed, which I'm kind of excited for, kind of tired of hearing Houston Texans fans talk about that.
Me too.
But the other thing, like I said, topic for another day, but I wanted to touch on it. The other thing that's really exciting, and we'll get to talking about this guy, but getting Xavier Restrepo as an undrafted free agent, not having to take a pick, that arguably was the second most exciting pick of the entire draft, getting him to pair with Cam. But the nugget that I wanted to drop before we get into him, there was a video that came out on Twitter where Xavier was talking to wide receiver coach Rob Moore for the Titans on the phone. Well, there's one clip that Xavier Restrepo posted where it's just the end of it. And he goes, hey, God is good. Thank you, coach. Tennessee. And they get excited. But there was a clip, a different video that the NFL posted that was much longer and caught more of the conversation. And in that clip, Rob Moore says, Cam has been calling Coach Callahan and us since the 4th round, telling us to draft you. And so basically Cam's just slamming the phones like, we'll get into the draft class here, but you have Chimray, DK get picked at 103, and then Cam picks up the phone. They're like, yo, you got to get Restrepo. What are you guys doing? And then, several picks happen in day 3, get all the way to the end of the day, and to still get him, be able to sign him without having to spend a pick is just insane. So background.
I can't wait to get into him. I cannot wait to just, get into that whole scenario.